righty. Hello out there in Packer Nation, and welcome to another edition of the Absolute Packer Podcast. We are on episode 87, which we will call Mr. Jones, in honor of the Counting Crows. No, in honor of Aaron Jones, who, I don't want to say miraculously, but kind of a pleasant surprise, was re-signed by the Green Bay Packers as we are in the midst of free agency and kind of the legal tampering period, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So without further ado, I am Andrew Hetzel, and with me as always, Ellie Christensen and Jeremy Household. What's up, boys?
Mr. Jones and me.
Man, I remember when that song came out. Oh, boy.
So as an aside, what's the guy's name? Now I'm drawing a blank. I could remember his name 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
Adam Duritz.
Yeah. I couldn't think of his first name. But anyway, he was just on for the 1 year pandemic versary on one of the late night talk shows, probably Kimmel, I think. And he was playing not that song though, but he was just on. But he doesn't have his dreadlocks or anything anymore, so he looks completely different
without hair.
He looks like I don't know, like a normal guy, but like a normal like middle-aged guy. Not cool.
Hey, I don't. So, yeah, I mean, the big news is Aaron Jones signed, I believe it was a 4-year extension worth $48 million.
Yeah,
on paper.
Yep, that's a lot of Bitcoin.
Well, this is the problem with these contracts because everybody, including myself, they see that they're like 4 years, $48 million, and you're like, wow, he took a discount. Because his market value was more than that. But when you look at the nuts and bolts of the contract, it's like a 2-year, $19 million contract.
Nice.
Of how it's all kind of put together. So his signing bonus was $13 million. So how that works is because the signing bonus is spread out over the life of the contract. He counts $3.5 million per year. That's how they spread it out to make it more cap friendly. So we don't know at this point, like what his base salary is, because that'll play a role into the cap figure. But like right now, all we know is his cap figure is $3.5 million, which is, 1/4 of his signing bonus. So, but from everything that I've read and gathered, he literally took a hometown discount and stayed here, and we got to steal. Literally got to steal off of this.
I mean, I'll take it. Everybody knows that his agent is Drew Rosenhaus, and the history of Drew Rosenhaus is he doesn't give up money to be nice. So
no. Well, see, if they were to release Jones next year, he would count $9.75 million in dead cap money. 6.5 in 2023 and 3.25 in 2024. So there's not a lot of risk there for the Packers.
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, maybe it was dictated that much where Jones was like, look, make this happen. I mean, I guess it's entirely possible. It's just funny that Drew Rosenhaus is, when you think about him, he milks anything and everything he can get.
Oh yeah.
So,
hey,
I didn't think he was going to be back.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
But if he was going to come back, it was going to be a team-friendly deal. And this was a more than friendly, team-friendly deal. So kudos to the Packers and Aaron Jones for kind of taking one, because he's taking a risk with this contract. He truly is. He's not getting $48 million. A lot of that's performance-based, but the last 2 years of his contract are not guaranteed. So,
well, I'll take it. We need all the playmakers we can get because, boy, if he did leave, that would leave us with
the first 2 years are guaranteed Super Bowl wins, is what you're saying.
That's part of his contract, yes.
Okay. As long as we have the important stuff covered.
Yes.
Yeah, as long as we have that stipulated.
It's Super Bowl.
160. Don't even say that.
You said it.
So be great. Be great. They don't make the Super Bowl, and then they find that Aaron Jones was in breach of his contract. and they can get out from it just because they didn't make the Super Bowl. We had this in writing right here. We didn't make it, sir. So you're out of here. Just tear it up for me. All right.
No, but I think you brought up a great point, though, Andy. You said playmaker. And I think that is the takeaway from all of this because we talk about playmakers on that team. We talk about Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, and who else? So to lose Aaron Jones would have been huge.
Yes,
you know.
Yes, right. He's not a guy who could have just said.
I think that's what was a.
Yeah.
No, he's not a guy that you just say you replace him. I mean,
you don't replace him with a guy named Dave.
The dynamic that he brings. No, the dynamic that he brings like that 70-yard run that he had towards the end of the season. Was it against Tennessee on Sunday night? He brings that home run ability and that playmaking ability, and there aren't many guys in this team that can do that. So
agreed.
You know, the more I thought about this, the more I was like, I see what the Packers were looking at here that they cannot afford just because he is so instrumental to that offense's efficiency. So, and
well, there aren't that many people in the league. Who else in the league would? I mean, not even just who's available, but there aren't very many running backs that are better.
Right.
Maybe Kamara.
I mean, there are. There's always some that are up and coming, but then there's some that are over the hill, and it's hard to say that anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty
he's in that sweet spot right now. He's got another 2 years in him.
Yeah, and I mean, the beauty of Jones, obviously, he's a good runner, but he's very effective in the passing game, and he's really shown that part too. So he's not just like kind of a shifty back. You can use him in other areas, and that is, that's becoming more and more important. I mean, he's been in the offense 2 years. That all of these kinds of things. So
well,
yeah, he wouldn't have been a guy you could just replace.
McCarthy helped him.
Yeah, no, jeez, because he buried him on the bench
too. Because
he really could,
right, and that was a good thing because I saw something today where Ezekiel Elliott in his first 3 years touched the ball like over 1,200 times in his first 3 years, where Jones was 700.
Good.
So
I saw that
Mike
too.
McCarthy.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy, what a moron!
Well, that wasn't just him.
That was a lot him. Well, he just let him sit on the bench because he didn't like running backs. I blame McCarthy for that. I'll take it because he's not as much worn down running back, but I'm like, my God, they had that guy just sitting in the barn. Sad. All right.
Well, you know what? And I think it is so nice now because I love Jamal Williams. I thought he was a great dude,
he's
a great
gone.
Football player, but he wasn't great at anything. Okay, I mean, he wasn't phenomenal.
He was solid. He was very
now
solid.
You truly have. He was very solid in everything, but now you truly have lightning and thunder with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. I like that combo.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is, man, you talk about a two-headed. They might have the best 1-2 running back in the league. Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, that's really good news. And then on the other front, they had a bunch of restructures from other existing players. Let's see, we had Billy Turner. I don't know all the details. You have Preston Smith, and then Adrian Amos, I believe. Those are the three other players that they restructured in some fashion. Preston Smith, I mean, I was surprised that they kept him, to be honest. But I guess, in a way, it's like one of those things where, he took a pretty big cut, too, from what I understand. But
it wasn't so much a cut. It was an incentive-laden contract. Yeah. It's performance-based.
Yeah.
And I think with him, if you look at his career, when he's when money is involved, he does really well. When it's not, he does poorly. So he's a man that you need to incentivize with that financial cap to say, okay, if you get 15 sacks, you're going to get here. And that's what they need to do with him. And that's exactly what they did with him. So it's not like this year he took a cut. He can earn that all back, but he has to earn it.
But he has to play at like a Pro Bowl level. Yeah.
And meet the
he has to play really well. Yeah. So that, it's
good.
What
point.
I was going to,
Jeremy, you're gonna have to start paying us more, Jeremy. I think me and Andy, we're forming a union, a podcasters union, and as management, you're gonna have to, you're just gonna have to. You're gonna have to pay us
now. Yeah, and Jeremy.
Okay, so we go from $1 to $2.
I was gonna say I've never been
for Starbucks coffee from a small to a large.
I've never.
I don't know.
You
know what? If you could flip me some Starbucks, we're going.
I know that's your thing, so I will do anything to keep you. And if it takes Starbucks every day, I'll give it to you.
Wow. Don't set your sights too high.
You know what?
Really,
You know what?
You negotiated against yourself. You could have gotten paid. Instead, you're getting coffee.
It is getting paid.
This is true. No,
You know I'd rather have coffee than money.
Oh,
Yeah,
silence from the rest of us. I think hold hard cash. No, but I love
that's true.
But no, going back to Preston Smith, there was an element where like they needed bodies. If they let him go, I mean, you got Zadarius Smith and Rashawn Gary and like nobody.
Gary.
Yeah, so it's like in a way they needed a body. So that was So and then with Amos, I don't know exactly what the terms are on that. Do you know some of the details on that, Jeremy?
They save roughly $750,000 this year. And what
Turner?
they did is they Turner, I haven't read anything about his, but what they did with most of these guys is they took their base salary and their roster bonuses that they get on the third day of the new calendar year or the new league year. They take that and put into a signing bonus, and that signing bonus is paid immediately. And then they spread out that charge over the balance of the contract. So That's what they did with Amos. It's basically backloading it, but giving yourself an immediate relief, which is what they need this year.
Yeah, I hear you. And in some other news, we're in the legal tampering period, like I said, air quotes. But Corey Linsley is going to sign with the Chargers. Where do the Chargers play again? I keep wanting to say San Diego, but they're not.
Right?
LA, are they LA Chargers?
No.
Where the hell are
the
they?
LA Chargers is playing the same stadium as the LA.
They're all on their way to Las Vegas. They're all going to end up in Las Vegas.
But that's where the Raiders are.
So.
Yeah, really.
They're all going to end up.
Linsley, I mean, great Pro Bowl center, all pro, I think. 5th round pick. He was
great. All pro, but not a Pro Bowler.
Okay. I mean, I'd rather be an all pro than a Pro Bowler, I guess.
Right.
So, good for him. He's going to get paid big time. And the Packers were hard pressed to keep him. He's been great for Green Bay. Solid as a rock. And 5th round pick. You really can't ask for any more. And sucks to see him go, but I'm happy for him. So good for him. And in
Sir,
terms of
are any of those a mistake?
Letting him go?
Well, I mean, any of the signings, any of the let go
or restructurings or anything. The only one from what I this is me kind of 500 feet looking down, like would be Preston Smith maybe,
and we don't know all the details. So
yeah, I mean, but the thing about Preston Smith is I think they did a pretty good job. They did the best they could with his situation. And again, it was with them. They almost needed. They needed a body, because so they did pretty well, But that would be the one I think. And again, we're sitting here. Number one is we got Aaron Jones back. I was sitting here going, he's gone. I thought it was a foregone conclusion. So the fact that they were able to get him on pretty far under market, I mean, good. I don't know about you, Jeremy, but everything they've done so far, I've been pretty damn impressed.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Even the restructuring of Preston to make it more incentive laden, I think it was a smart move on their part because, he came here guns a-blazing first year, had 12 sacks, and then last year, he couldn't even come close to that, So it's obvious he needs to be incentivized, and I think they did a great job with that. The only issue with these contracts now is depending on how the salary caps go up in the coming years here. It sounds like there's some new TV deals in the works.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say, for example, the salary cap doesn't go up, the traditional, which I think has been roughly 8% every year.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't go up more than that, they're going to be hard pressed in 2022 and 2023 because they're taking all that money and they're backloading it.
Yeah.
That's the only issue that they're doing.
It's the kind of kick in the can thing.
You're right. That's a good.
Hopefully, they don't kick the can as bad as like New Orleans. Nobody's as bad as that,
right?
That's where they're like.
Well, and I think, yeah, and they've done a phenomenal job because they were over $100 million over the cap and they are almost down. I think they're about 10 million now, but like they've done a phenomenal job of getting themselves, because we thought we're sitting here at like, what was it, 30 million, and we thought the world was going to end. The Saints were over 100 million, and they made it work, So, but yeah, getting back to maybe another player that they're looking at here, Aaron Rodgers. I think I talked about a pre-show, but Zadarius Smith is in the works. They're going to restructure.
That's going to happen for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to redo his contract and add more years to it, so that they can get more cap relief this year. And then the other one is, this is the caveat. This is kind of like the golden star, is restructuring Aaron Rodgers and taking his base salary and roster bonus and turning it into another signing bonus. And then,
will he get an extension?
Technically, I don't know. I mean, he could.
He's under contract through what year again? I can't remember.
2023.
Man. Yeah, I don't know.
But he has about a roughly 38 million cap hit this year. Next year it goes over 40, and then 2023 it's like 20 something. So 2022 right now is shaping up to look even worse than this year for us. Just because of our top 51. I mean, we're paying some big money towards Aaron Rodgers.
They got Devontae Adams coming. They got Jair Alexander coming. I mean, good problems to have in a way, but yeah, it's I don't know. It is what it is. But I think to your point, if they have to restructure Rodgers, it's like if they don't, that's almost like a two-pronged bad thing, because it's like Rodgers being ridiculously passive aggressive and not in good faith, and putting the Packers in a pinch with the cap in general. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right. Well, you have to take into account Tom Brady just redid his contract and saved them $19 million. So Tom Brady is doing everything he can to make sure that he has guys underneath him that can make a team.
I hate Tom Brady.
Aaron right now, let's say, for example, Aaron doesn't want to do anything with his contract right now this year. It'll benefit him, but it'll benefit us in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So because right now we don't know. I mean, this is the tricky part. They drafted Jordan Love. He's going to be the number 2 now because Tim Boyle is not coming back.
Oh, we know that for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
They're not going to tender him.
Okay, they're not going to tender him. Where do you think he's going to go? You think he's going to go to Dallas?
I have no clue. Maybe Chicago. I've heard that.
I have no idea how good Tim Boyle really is. I can't imagine he's that good. People are like, oh, they do that whole song and dance all the time. They're like, oh, I look great in camp. And I'm like, we're also spoiled by Rodgers. So, I mean, that doesn't help. But at the same time, it's like, if you're Chicago and you're like, the answer to our prayers is Tim Boyle, you're in trouble. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I just thought of something else too. As far as restricted free agents that they have tendered.
Right?
Nope, they have not tendered him yet. They have tendered Randy Ramsey. Hold on, let me get this up. Randy Ramsey, Josh Nimman, Malik Taylor, and Alan Lazard is supposedly rumored to be next, but the two big ones are Tanyan and Lazard. They officially have not been qualified or offered a qualifying offer yet. So,
what do you think of that?
I'm actually kind of shocked by it. I think that they would have had that done by now. I mean, they have till Wednesday, but I just thought, for their bookkeeping purposes, they'd have those restricted free agents all taken care of, but they're not, So
who would you do between Tanyan and Lazard if you had to? I'd pick Tanyan probably.
I'd pick Tanyan just because we don't have anybody else there. I mean,
yeah, I know, and and Tanyan's pretty good. I mean, Rodgers makes him look good. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's like all world or whatever, but he's better than what I thought he was for sure. And he's been with Rodgers now. What this past year was his second year? I can't even remember. But they have a good chemistry going there. Lazard, it's like we've said they don't have a number 2 on this team. Lazard isn't a number 2. It's like he's okay. But if I had to pick one, I'd pick Tanyan.
Yep. There's more upside to that one.
Now, if
I think we've
tender
seen
them by Wednesday,
stealing.
does that mean they're gone?
No, it just means that they can go and sign whoever they want to sign with.
Mm.
They are not tied to the Packers anymore. They are unrestricted.
That is interesting, and they have till Wednesday.
The nice thing about the nice thing about when you have restricted free agents is it gives you control over them for roughly 3 to 4 years. We're talking about Tanya now. I think he's going into his third. He's getting to that point where if they don't sign him to a contract, they're going to be hard pressed to keep him because they're not going to have any restricted tenders to offer him anymore. But this is the year to do it. Just because it's only going to be like $2.4 million for a second round tender.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So that's reasonable for a guy like him,
Yeah. Actually, going back to sorry to skip back to Lindsley, but we're going to get a compensatory pick out of that. I think you said it could be a third rounder.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
that's
year important
and how they
for
determine. How they determine compensatory picks is based off of contract. They're like all pro and Pro Bowl, like the personal accolades that they accrue, and then also how far they go in the playoffs. That all determines their compensatory reward for that player. Right now, I've heard everything that he's going to be a third round, but it's all to be determined. So we don't know yet.
Okay. The other thing I was thinking about, this kind of just popped in my head, was Casey Hayward got released, right, from the Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We should pick him up.
I would agree with that.
He's better than Kevin King.
There you go. That's the positive to that one. The reason why the Chargers let him go is they were paying him at an All-Pro status, and last year he had an off year. He did not, for some reason. They're saying he lost a step. They're saying that his football quickness, he lost something there. So I don't know. I haven't seen him play since he left here, but
still better than Kevin King.
Still better than Kevin King.
After everything you just said, it's like,
yeah, that's true.
He could come to Lambeau Field with a fridge tied behind his back, and I'd be like, better than Kevin King.
I'd be careful saying things like that, though. I don't know.
Why is that?
I mean, I know Kevin King is he's not up to where we want him to be, but I don't know.
Not even close. That's the problem. He's a first round pick. He's not even close.
I know. No, I get all that. I just, you get somebody who is past their prime, and then they, we put these expectations on them, and it turns out.
I mean, I'm being somewhat facetious, but Casey Hayward he's better than Kevin King. He may not be appreciably better, but he's better.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Well, to Elliot's point, though, I mean, he does bring up a good point because Casey Hayward's going to be 32 coming up here, so it's not like he's on the young side of 30.
Yeah, I don't mean sign Hayward to some crazy cockamamie like huge deal. I mean, it needs to make sense, but if you can get him on a reasonable deal, do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean that's who they've been talking to today. They've been talking to defensive backs, wide receivers, and defensive linemen. Supposedly that's their target in free agency. So he would fit that mold then. Yeah, they're tied to the hip with Will Fuller. There had been a lot of rumblings that they are very heavy on trying to get him here. So,
that was another thing. Speaking of wide receivers, they restructured Funchess, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
I have no idea what's gonna. He's like on veteran minimum now, basically, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have no idea what to make of Funchess. I mean, we're just going to have to wait until basically the end of training camp to get any bead on what that guy really is, Out of football for a year. He wasn't like great before that. He was pretty good, but he wasn't great. So it's like, what the heck is he now? No idea. But let's hope the value is there because he's probably better than the veteran minimum. But yeah, I almost forgot about him. Anyway, that's
I forgot about him too, and that's a great point that you made. That it's a low risk, high reward signing because he has a lot to play for. Like if he doesn't do anything this year, his career is pretty much done.
Yeah, agreed.
So he has a lot to play for. which benefits us.
Titans land outside linebacker Bud Dupree.
Oh, okay.
I got an alert here on my phone about that. I don't know much about him, but yeah, I've been getting alerts from the Athletic or whatever about Bucks left and right. They are Tampa Bay. Brady restructured. Gronk's coming back.
Barrett,
Shaq Barrett.
Godwin. I love what they're doing, because if you watch, if you look at the progression of Super Bowl champions this past decade, they don't keep the
core together. Yeah,
the core of that team together. They always kind of break up. Yeah. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are bringing everybody back. Yeah. They haven't lost anybody yet, and they're going
to absolutely suck in 2022. But hey, that's what it's probably.
2 Super Bowl doesn't matter.
But exactly, it's
right.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know how much, or if there's anything else that's really happened on the Packers front.
Jeremy mentioned Fuller. So, is there anything else about Fuller?
They targeted him earlier. I'm looking, or at the trade deadline last year. Did they not?
That was the rumor.
Yeah,
and they were only willing to offer a 4th rounder. They wanted a 2nd rounder. That's why that deal went nowhere. So, right now they can pretty much, offer him whatever they would like, and hopefully he'll come here. But there's been the interest level on him is it's weak, because he has not played a full 16 game season in his whole career.
Yeah.
And that's an issue for teams. So
right. Well, and Andy got busted for PEDs.
Wait, I forgot about did you that. Say Andy got or and he? And when you said that so fast, so I was like, I did. When did I get busted?
You don't recall the incident? The rest of us.
I got water.
Yeah. Yeah. What's in that? Why are you colored? See, mine is crystal clear.
Hydrogen and oxygen. That's
sure it is. Yeah. All right. So
Will Fuller did get busted for PEDs. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know how excited I should feel about him. So
yeah, he kind of, in a way, like, I think he's better than Funchess, but it kind of reminds me of, like, he's kind of a guy, I don't know.
And you kind of said it like he was like our top prospect. Is that maybe not true? But was I just reading
top target or whatever?
Yeah.
No, everything I've read is that he is their number one
him last year.
If they're looking to make that big splash in free agency, which they're allowed probably one, he is the guy that they want to make the splash with. So
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I'm missing. I guess I don't pay too much.
Well, that kind of also tells you what, like, their financial situation, right? That's the kind of signing they
also true.
That's the kind of signing they'd be looking at, because their cap situation. This isn't like when they signed Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. It's just not the same situation.
Okay.
They have also inquired about AJ Green as well.
Bengals.
He's older.
Man, he seems like he's been there for 30 years. But
yeah, it seems like he's been there forever. But he's an old guy that they can probably get on the cheap. So. That's what they're looking for, and that's, I think, when we get past Wednesday here, they're going to be targeting those 2nd and 3rd tier free agents that are just bargain, and that's all they can do,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't think they're going to be any first day big splashes.
32. So,
AJ Green.
Yeah.
Do you remember where he played college?
Georgia.
University of Georgia Bulldogs.
I only know that because I'm looking right at a sheet.
I know that because I love my Bulldogs.
I was going to say.
I figured that's why you asked. So that would have been my first guess anyway.
The other day, what came on YouTube recommended to me? The Herschel Walker Run when he played for UGA, where he literally playing Tennessee his rookie year, his true rookie year. Watch YouTube videos of Herschel Walker.
Oh yeah,
He was like a pocket Bo Jackson in a way. He was, and like this play, it's like a really famous play. This guy, this inside linebacker, he's standing up and he's like a junior or senior, at Tennessee, and Herschel Walker slams into him. The guy falls down, and then Herschel Walker steps on his chest on the way into the end zone. It's awesome. Yeah, he was. He's kind of a Looney Tune now, but unfortunately, I think he has I think he legit has borderline personality disorder. He has like a severe mental condition or something, but he was just unbelievable athlete. Just
well, a lot of football players. You mentioned that a lot of them when they leave the game, they have what is it, CTE? The traumatic brain issues, and he could be definitely in that target range
without question. I mean, when you think about people who have severe cognitive impairments, if you will, that's the first thing you think of is like, man, because a lot of these guys, they've been playing football since like Pee Wee football. Pee Wee, think about like a guy like Brett Favre. It's like the guy was playing Pee Wee football, and then he played 20 years in the NFL and college and high school. It's like his freaking like MRI scan of his brain must look like oatmeal. It's like,
I wonder he's not more annoying.
Well,
yeah, it's like you wonder that it's amazing the guy still got his faculties right now.
Right.
Yeah, because then you look at guys like
I mean, if you watch
Jim McMahon, have you seen anything about? Oh, it's sad.
Yeah, he's
Saints re-signed Jameis Winston. Super Bowl.
Well, they had to because Drew Brees is gone.
Because Drew Brees retired.
Yeah, that was gonna be the next thing. I thought I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about Drew Brees at all.
Yeah.
He's he had an interesting.
I think it was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Andy.
It might be a little delay. Well, he went to Purdue, right? He went to Purdue, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then drafted by San Diego.
That's right. And then he hurt himself, and then they drafted Phillip Rivers to be his replacement, if my memory serves me correct. He went to Miami with Nick Saban, didn't he? Or no, he was going to go there, and then he went to the Saints, right? Brees. I think that's how that played out. I think he was going to go with. Remember when Nick Saban was the coach of the Dolphins for like 1 year?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, he was for like and then after the year after, he went back to Alabama and started winning championships like every 5 minutes. But I think Brees was going to go to Miami, but he ended up going to New Orleans instead. And the rest is history. But they thought his shoulder was like done, completely torn up back then. The thing about him, Brees, is like, I mean, he's never been very flashy. He's been pretty damn good. He won a Super Bowl. He's good, but it's like, guy's got a noodle arm. I don't know. I don't know what else to make of him, really.
I think back just to his story about when he started playing football to when he retired. And when he was young, he had to work to just play on JV and start. So he was never a talented, highly glamorous guy. And he worked for everything that he got. And I think that's the one thing that you could take from him is that, he just didn't fall into what he got. He worked to get everything and earn everything that he is, he only won one Super Bowl, but as far as an individual, he had to work hard to get everything.
No, that's fair.
So
yeah, he wasn't the most athletically gifted, but he definitely got every ounce of what he could. That's for sure. And I mean, yeah, Purdue isn't exactly a football powerhouse, It's funny every now and then when those great quarterbacks come out of even Dan Marino went to like Pitt, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think
so.
He would like. You would swear it's like you think USC or whatever, in that era. It's just interesting when these great quarterbacks come out of kind of, I don't want to say middling schools, but for lack of a better term, middling schools. I mean, hell, you could even say Russell Wilson followed that kind of path. Wasn't it like NC State and then
and then
Wisconsin, and it's interesting.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger played at Miami of Ohio, which is
right.
That's not a real powerhouse, Notre Dame.
No doubt. Are they Division I AA? Are they even Division 1A or okay?
They're Division I, but they're the lower level of one.
Miami, Ohio. Wow, that's right. Okay, I'm trying to think of.
Actually,
that's a good find.
That's where Quentin Rollins came from.
Let's forget about that.
Okay. Good deal.
Well, then you got. I mean, speaking of, remember Nick Collins, Bethune-Cookman.
Right.
Wow, he's got to be the most famous alumnus from Bethune-Cookman. And then there's he's a horrible guy, but Darren Sharper went to William and Mary.
William and Mary, yeah.
What in the world? I remember when they do the intros to Monday night or Sunday Night Football, and they say what college they go to. I remember when he was playing with the Packers, he came up and he was like Darren Sharper, William and Mary. I'm like, William and Mary? It sounds like a law firm. Like, what in the world? Yeah. And every now and then, Rodgers, remember, he would throw shade, and he'd be like, Butte Community College.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, Brees. I think you hit the nail on the head. He was never the most athletic and gifted, but he did work his tail off, and he obviously had a lot of football smarts. But he, I guess what I'm getting at is you put him and Rodgers. It's Rodgers is so much more talented than him, but in the end, they both have the same amount of Super Bowls.
All right. And I think the one thing that you could also say for him is I think the team really they rallied around him just because of his go-getter attitude, and he just had that persona that was he was definitely a team leader, and everybody just corralled to him, and just they knew he was the man.
When you think about it, he and I guess you could say Sean Payton, but I would say probably more so Brees. He think about what he did and what he meant to the city of New Orleans. I mean, they were a dumpster fire of a franchise for so long that
Well, I was just reading.
Yeah, because they just had.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And Drew Brees and Sean Payton both showed up, right after the big hurricane, and basically brought them on the upswing. I was wondering what you guys think about. Remember the was there some kind of gate name attached to it when they were targeting Brett?
Yeah, Bountygate.
Bountygate, that's right.
Bountygate. They're putting bounties on
Greg Williams.
Do you think that the smackdown put on the Saints because of that? Do you think that kept them from another Super Bowl?
That's an interesting. What was the penalty again? I can't even remember.
They had
draft picks.
Yeah, they lost draft picks. They had some coaching.
And Peyton was suspended for a year. He didn't coach for a year, did he?
Yeah, they had a bunch of weird things. There were a bunch of weird rules associated with it. So, one of the, I think
that's an interesting point.
He was booted out a bunch of games, not the whole year, I don't think, but some of the other coaches were booted for the whole year. It was a bunch of.
I think Peyton was suspended the whole year. I think he was.
Greg Williams was. Peyton, I think he was suspended for half a season or something like that. But
they got docked a bunch of. They got docked a bunch of draft picks.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting thought. Where did that set them back?
Just kills you for this. So it sets you back this season and next season, and maybe the next one after that. So it's so in his prime, he gets kneecapped. I just
that's interesting.
And why? Because
you wonder what that does to a locker room.
Yeah. And because Minnesota didn't have a better offensive line, they can't protect their quarterback. I don't know. I don't know what the.
God, did you guys watch that game? I remember watching that game.
I loved it. I loved everything about it.
I love watching Favre get the hell beat out of him.
Best game ever.
When he threw that interception.
I'm that's why you don't play anymore. You're old and you should quit.
I was absolutely stunned but I started laughing for like 10 minutes straight.
I did too.
It was great.
It was just
great. Yeah.
Couldn't be any more.
We watched it at Stadium View, and the whole place was just a riot. It was.
You know what's funny? We forget. I literally, it feels like it's been 50 years, but you remember Brad Childress was the coach of those Vikings.
Yeah.
What a loser. What a Looney Tune high. I mean, and the Packers were like, oh, remember when that all happened when they hired McCarthy? They're like, oh, we lost out on Brad Childress. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jeez, think about if the Packers hired Brad Childress.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he was terrible. Really terrible.
What a freaking zero, as my dad would say.
How do you really feel? I don't know. So I've always been like, I've always felt like, especially after of the Bountygate thing, where I feel like they were unfairly treated for that, because I just
I wonder how many other teams do that or did that too. They couldn't.
I still don't really understand the crime. You know,
I think from the technical aspect, it was like literally
hard.
No, I think
like that's
literally. I think
like
if you want to get into the technical aspects, like literally in the weeds, I think like they were paying them a lot of side money, and that's like salary cap, or like, you know, literally money was exchanging hands player to player, and there was something with like compensation in the league was like, this is outside of the collective bargaining, and it was, you know what I mean? That was like, there was some of that came up, I think, too.
They never made it sound
it was
getting at is they
driven.
brought that up as like as justifications to hand this down, to be like, oh, we're going to hit you really hard on this, you know, because you know, this is outside of the realm of the salary.
Well, and I don't remember exactly if it was just Greg Williams that did the bounty, but like, they offered players incentives, financial incentives to knock people out, Brett out.
But they were small,
and that was outside of the
$100.
No, it was more.
Oh, it was larger than that.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, it was like tens of thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars.
No, it wasn't. No,
yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Look it up.
I mean, it wasn't like hundreds of thousands, but it was like tens of thousands.
Right.
I am going to ask Google. It couldn't have been, because they were so okay. So I Bountygate in Wikipedia. The Saints organization got a $500,000 fine. They were forced to forfeit their second round draft selection in 2012 and 2013.
Even that, it's second round, but not first round.
I don't really understand why. The Vilma was suspended for entire 2012. 4 current and former players were suspended as ringleaders. But what did they actually do? I didn't. Yeah. This is what I had heard.
I mean, well, look, part of it, what they did, like Jeremy said, it was the financial incentive to knock people out. So
players earned $1,000 for card-offs and $1,500 for knockouts.
Okay,
so that
is kind of smallish, but
you know, so
you're saying to kill somebody, it's not a big deal if they just gave them $1,500.
But that's their job anyway.
But
that's their job.
I don't know how you don't see a problem with it. Like, it is their job, but it's not their job to kill people. If you watch how they play, they all play for each other, you know? Going out there and headhunting and trying to, you know, literally maim people that's.
Yeah, I mean, to Jeremy's point, it's like your motivation and the way you tackle a guy changes. If you're just trying to form tackle, it's one thing. If you're trying to knock him out of a game or get him on a cart, yeah, that's.
But I mean, so
they could have had guys dive into people's legs, for Christ's sake. You know, dirty hits, like super dirty hits, going after knees and compromising situations. And I mean, tearing guys' knees up.
But those are things that get called then. Then the refs need to call that.
No.
You know, like those are the things that need to be called. Like,
Yeah, you remember Favre got the hell beat out of him that
yeah,
game.
and most of
And he
don't recall any
He was
bad
peeing
hits.
blood after the game.
I don't
he
recall
had pictures of like his legs, and it was like,
but they hit him hard and they hit him often. I didn't see. I mean, I don't recall dirty hits. So I don't know. That's the part that bothered me.
The other point,
so like,
I think that
it's like they were given an incentive, but they didn't do those things. So
but listen. I think you might have answered your own question though, because the offensive line of the Vikings was freaking fantastic. You still got to beat the man in front of you.
Yeah,
they had an All-Pro line that year,
they did beat them.
You still have to,
right? So that's why I don't know why it was.
You got to whoop them. You got to whoop them. But if you got an All-Pro line, you know it's harder to make them look that bad. Is what I'm saying. Doesn't help. No.
I don't know.
Or they were
just punishment didn't fit the crime. That's all. Because I think all this did was it just pushed this sort of thing more underground. You know, like you can't tell me
it's possible. No, it's possible. And I tend to think that if there's one team that's putting like quote unquote bounties, like a little bit of money on whatever, other teams were doing that too. Either the Saints were so egregious with not even attempting to cover it up, or somebody was like a whistleblower. I don't know, but I remember when that came out. I'm like, oh, this is kind of bad, but I'm like, other teams have got to be doing something like this. I'm not saying it's right, but it's just.
No, I will say that Bountygate accelerated the safety that the NFL tried to place upon the players. Now, remember Clay Matthews when he was unnecessary roughness against Kirk Cousins here a few years ago. That all accelerated the excessive, whatever you want to call it.
Where you couldn't touch a quarterback.
Right.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I mean, if that's what we want the rules to be, then make the rules that way. So this is why, like, I don't understand what any outside of the borders of the game incentives could have to do with what happens on the field. Like the rules on the field are the rules on the field, and if you can't figure that out,
look, some players get special. If people don't think Tom Brady gets special treatment and shit, it's like it's all money.
Well, I mean, and especially when you're in your 40s, that guy's got to be on steroids. Just
Brady?
The recovery, and
who knows?
If he ever gets hit, like you slow down. That's why you get hit, and you get hit, and then you slow down some more, and you get hit, and you slow down some more.
I think we're naive if we don't think they're protecting some players, particularly quarterbacks.
Yeah. And I guess so to kind of go full circle. I mean, I feel like, do you think there were like NFL politics?
And they didn't want to, what I'm getting at, they didn't want to protect Favre. They're like, let him go ahead, kick his ass. We're tired of this guy.
Well, but then after the fact, they just throw the book at the Saints.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I don't understand. So the refs didn't do their job, or they did? If the refs did their job, then what was the wrongdoing? I really have a problem with that.
From what I recall, there were so many like borderline hits in that game. Like when they look back, they're like there were so many that were like close to after the whistle, if not after the whistle.
So the refs didn't do their job,
or they were on the take,
or they were okay, but that's a different issue then. This is breaking news.
I don't know. Well, I mean, look, I hate to be whatever, but it's like when you think of a business that is multi-billion-dollar business, money drives everything. Yeah, where it's so stupid to think otherwise. It's like the answer to everything is money on some level. Right.
So I mean, I just think about because watching Drew Brees those years, he was still a fantastic quarterback.
Yeah. Actually, hold on real quick though. I got a question for you.
We hand dozens of trophies to Tom Brady, and
dozens, and he threw them all in the water off the boat.
He throws them in the water.
I know. Guy, he's like, I got 9 of these at home. I'll just toss this. No, what I was gonna. Oh, what the heck? Let me see if I can remember my train of thought. Keep going. It was. Oh, that's what I was going to ask. So the NFL is like one of the only sports that doesn't have professional. Or no, was it college football? Maybe I have this backwards. They don't have professional referees, full-time referees. Is that college or is that NFL? It's the NFL. They don't have. They moonlight as referees, right? Because remember, like Ed Hockley, he's like, oh, he's a lawyer, he's also this, and it's like they don't have that. I never quite understood that, and part of me is going, they probably just don't want to deal with a ref union or whatever, or they just they don't want to pay. They're just cheap. Because why in the heck would you have a multi-billion-dollar, or is there some kind of game? Why? That's my question. Why would you not have professional refs in the most popular sport?
All right. So devil's advocate, like, okay, what are these jokers doing the rest of the week? Like, they do one game. They're not doing multiple games. What are they doing the other 6 days of the week? Like, why shouldn't it be?
No idea. I'm just saying, why wouldn't they have professional? They're the only major sport that doesn't have professional refs.
Well, they are professional. Why? They get paid to do it.
They're professional, right?
They're not full time. Maybe that's okay. Full time.
But how could they be full time? Like they what else are they going to do?
They pay, or Elliot, they pay collegiate football refs.
Okay,
full time.
So
collegiate.
So I
not NFL.
This is a case of two wrongs don't make it right. I think
no, I
I'm just saying we drastically
I think it's weird. I guess is what I'm saying.
College sports is
the NCAA. It's money. NCAA. Yeah. Go back to that. But I guess it's one of those weird things.
It is. It is weird when you compare it to that. But then you look at like, okay, so why are they being paid full time? And and then we see student tuition go up.
Maybe they're on scholarship. Maybe they're on scholarship. They're getting an education.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I mean, you make some good points though. But I just think about okay, so if they were full time, what would they be doing the rest of the week? Like legit, like what would they be doing? Are they studying up on how to be a better ref? Maybe, but are they?
I'm just picturing them with like a stack of books.
Yeah, like I mean, what would they actually be doing?
That I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, why don't they do that? And the answer has something to do with money somewhere, saving money or not spending money or whatever.
Well, but I mean, who wouldn't? Like if they said, "Hey, Andy, you're good at the footballs.
The footballs.
Why don't you do some of this reffing stuff for us? We'll pay you, $1,000 a game." You'd say no. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Yeah, of course you would. I would too. So, like,
we can go. I mean, we could. This could go on and on and on. It's just one of those weird things. I guess it's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, why is that?
Yeah. And even he's really good. Like typically, like you mentioned, Hocula. Like everybody, these names that people learn over time. Who they are typically good refs, right? I don't know what they get paid. I have no idea. I mean, maybe
I don't either.
Really,
and then when you compare them to like, if you compare them to like baseball, like refs or basketball, I mean, they're playing way more games.
Also true.
Yes, that's
also true.
So I guess that's why those guys are professional ref.
That's probably true.
When I say professional, I mean professional full time. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they're still just.
So your point about just being 16 games, maybe that's why.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
follow the money.
Great question. It's funny because like I look at the little screen and I think, oh, they're doing football all week long. All of these people on the screen.
You know what I think of a lot when I'm watching a game and they have like a 72-year-old white guy supposed to be the arbiter of $1 billion industry when he couldn't run a 12.840. And you're like, what in the world? This just doesn't make sense.
Well,
you know what I mean?
See, the athleticism is one thing, but like I think about like even like my vision in my 40s, I think about somebody in their 70s, their vision can't be all there.
Kidding.
So
I know it's weird. You're like
everything
Johnny
else.
Appleseed over here is in charge of this.
Like legit. in your 70s, I think your vision has got to be questionable.
Yeah.
So,
like every now and then, when you see an NFL, when you see an old white guy NFL ref and he just gets clocked, like he's in the middle of a play, you're like, oh yeah, that's a really old, frail dude over there who's the arbiter of this multi-billion-dollar game. Okay, whatever. And it's different because it's a very physical sport. It's not like baseball. It's like they're in the middle of all these plays, and they are supposed to run and catch up, and all. And they're like,
yeah.
When you watch some of those guys run, you're like, this is ridiculous. Well, I did not see us taking this turn, but that was interesting.
Well, okay, so when I Googled this, which I assume Jeremy did too. No. So when I Googled,
you guys done yet?
Yeah. Well, when I Googled NFL referee salary, according to Money.com, NFL officials' average salary rose to $201,000 in 2019.
Not surprising at all.
So, and plus they get a 401k.
And you said you were going to pay me $1,000 a game.
But you would do it. This is what I'm saying. Like I'm sure they don't have a hard time finding refs. That's why when they had they did have the ref strike. I mean, remember that Seattle game? This thing.
That's right.
2012.
That's right. Now, do they have a union? That's what
they must. They must.
They do.
This is all.
Yeah, it's a weird setup because they're not full time, but I don't know, whatever.
But to your point, though, they are paid less than NBA officials, NHL officials, and MLB officials. But they do fewer games, so that's probably not.
So I mean, that does make some sense.
Good point, man.
And again, it was more or less. It started off as an observation.
Yeah, no, that's what, like it's something I've literally never thought about.
This isn't tiddlywinks. This is like a $10 billion industry.
Right?
You're like, what?
Right. And growing
times 2.
Yeah. Wow. So anyway. I still think Drew Brees just kind of cheated. That was.
No, I had almost forgotten about Bountygate.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
I don't know. That's what I started with.
Right.
You know, the Bountygate thing. I feel like the punishment didn't fit the crime, and you know, and the rest of the team wasn't.
I don't really care because it's not my team. If it happened to my team, I probably would have cared a lot more. I hate to say it.
I feel like they're my second team because, like, they did help New Orleans, and they hit at the right time, and I think Sean Payton's a great coach. You know, like I
agree.
I felt like they were both.
I thought of a great question for a poll.
Yeah.
What is your second favorite NFL team after the Packers?
Let's totally do it.
That's a very interesting question because even I'm like, who would it be? I'd have to think about it.
I already said mine's the Saints. That is true. I like, so when when the Packers play the Saints, I'm all in on the Packers, but otherwise I'm all in on the Saints.
I'm almost tempted to say the Falcons because I used to live there, but that's not true. Because I don't like the Falcons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
Again, I think that'd be an interesting one because it's like, I don't know.
I almost want to say that, like, my third favorite team is almost the Lions because they're always so perennially bad. Like, I'm almost.
Yeah, you almost have like a team where you're like.
That they're in our
division. You almost have like a team where, you feel sorry for them. Maynard, what's up, buddy?
Like, and they should be better than that because, they I feel like something should go their way at some point, but maybe not. So yeah, I will put that poll together. That's a good idea. So you guys have anything else?
It could be. No, I mean we're kind of in. There was actually a lot of action. It was all just salary cap related stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, kind of nerd stuff. We should have had spreadsheets on the screen for everybody. Or we could have got
Jeremy's
that guy that does the elections.
All right.
Are you? Did I bore you to death,
That's
Jeremy? I'm sorry. I should just.
I looked over a couple times when we were yapping about Bountygate and all that, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, all right." I don't blame
No,
you.
I want you guys to talk. I want to hear what you have to say.
So you don't think so?
'Cause you all,
I don't know. We will talk about this again. We don't have to talk about it now. But I feel like you could convince me. I'm open minded on what you're saying because I feel like I'm missing something. Because as far as the NFL, you're the guru. I am the apprentice. I would like to. I would like you to learn me some facts on that. So, right? Maybe. No.
no, I'm sorry. I'm watching Andy.
I am too now.
No, my daughter's right here, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to go on camera. So. There's only 2 people watching. Well, there's a cat. Does that count?
No.
Okay.
All right,
no,
boys.
I think we're good. All right, go Pack, go baby.
All right, give your wholehearted off-season go Pack go.
Podcast.
Chair. I know, right?